Hi, this is Emily, Ianelli, and I'm doing a video because I wanted to let people know. When I was driving Sunday, I was coming home from a really nice event we had to celebrate. It was a reunion with my cross-country teammates and obviously our coach. It was a tribute to Coach. I had a great time. I felt accepted. I met some really nice people. And then I started heading home. It was hard saying goodbye to everybody because most likely we won't see each other again. So it was nice. It was hard a little bit to say goodbye, but we took pictures, so I have memories with the pictures. So after the picnic wrapped up and we were all going our separate ways, I headed home, and it was in my mind that I was going to stop to get my son a movie. Uh, but something really, I'm still struggling with it emotionally. I mean, I'm diverting my pain and emotional stress by going out with people, friends that I have. And it's very important to have friends because, I am very much isolated and I am very depressed. And I've been in hospitals many, many times. And I'm also worried about my son who's autistic. So I got lots of things on my mind and, paying my bills timely. Unfortunately, I fell behind on some. Due to emergency things, we had to have like plumbing done and I got ripped off and the guy didn't even do a good job. We still have, from time to time, dampness where supposedly then I had to rely on my brother-in-law to fix our linking pipes under the sink. I spent $750, which I didn't have, so it's on my credit card. So I got these bills and I got credit card balances now, and I did so good paying off my credit card bills. I got it down to 0 and it improved my credit rating. But now, I don't have the money to substantiate these unexpected expenses. And now I've been in the hospital several times for my psychiatric needs. And recently, on the same day as the picnic, when I was coming home, it was roughly 5 or 5:30. I was driving on Hempstead Turnpike, going eastbound towards Farmingdale to Levittown's Target. I usually go to Hicksville's Target, but I decided since I was exiting off Hempstead Turnpike in Levittown, that I'd go to the Target there. And as I'm driving, everything was perfect coming home, the parkways and all. But for whatever reasons, when I was driving on Hempstead Turnpike in Levittown, if you asked me to pinpoint the exact location, I'd probably have trouble, but I'd look for an area on Hempstead Turnpike where there are trees and bushes. So as I'm driving Sunday, I all of a sudden, there was a car up in front, there was a car behind me, there were cars to the left, and my car, I was going like 45 miles an hour, and that's not unusual for me, and it's certainly under the speed limit. And as I'm driving, you ease up on the accelerator, and you go to the brake. So that's what I was doing. I eased up on the accelerator. However, when I eased up, nothing happened. It was still going in motion. It was like 45 miles an hour with the accelerator. So then I pumped on the brake. I tried to do it again with the accelerator. I was looking. I didn't really have enough time to do anything, basically. All I could do at this point, as I'm panicking, is trying to gauge when I am going to, if I go straight. It's going to be instantaneously if I hit the car in front of me, and God knows what's going to happen to the car in back of me. My ultimate nightmare scenario would be I plowed into the car in front of me going 45 miles an hour, couldn't stop. I push him ahead, and I don't even know if there was a car ahead of him, but if there was, I push him into that car ahead of him. I would be crashed into his car, and then the car behind me would have crashed into me. Now you tell me this. 3 cars, most likely, maybe even 4. Passengers in each, unexpecting something like this to happen. I would say if I was a gambling person, I would be killed instantly. The driver in front of me most likely would have been severely injured or possibly killed too. And I don't even know if he had passengers in the car or if it was a woman for that matter. And then the driver behind me was with his wife. I don't know if they had children, but uh, if he crashed into me with that same kind of speed, certainly they would encounter some uh, injuries, maybe, hopefully not death, but who knows, that could have been a possibility too. So I'm like all, you know, I was very lucky though that I instead of going straight, I knew if I went straight it would have been deadly. So I swerved to my right. I got all the way over because I was in the rightmost lane. So thank God I was there, because if I was in the middle lane and I tried to swerve over, it would be no good, because God knows I would have crashed into a car side of me going 45 miles an hour. So when I swerved to my right, I had no idea where the fuck I was going to land. All I knew is my car is out of control and I'm scared to death, and I have no idea if there's a building there or if there's trees there or if there's a pond there. I had no clue. It was just I had to do something. So I swerved to my right to avoid hitting the car in front of me. And as I do, I hit this curb. I go slightly airborne and I plow into the trees and the bushes. And right before I made contact, I really thought that this was it. I thought, oh, this is it. I'm going to die. I was bracing myself to die. And I remember saying, oh, this is how I'm going to go. And the last thing I remember before I got all messed up in my head was, oh my God, Matthew, what's going to happen to Matthew? And then, boom, I crashed into the tree. And I felt force. I felt the airbag deployed hitting me. I was like dazed, you know. I was literally waiting to die. And then the airbag cushioned me. The blow wasn't nearly as bad as it would have been if I hit a concrete wall. So somehow it was helpful that I did crash into bushes and tree, because it brought my 45 mile per hour Toyota uh, un, uh, totally out of control to a complete stop. If that wasn't there to stop it, God knows I would have still been going without any way of stopping the car. And that most likely would have been deadly. And who knows, I might have hit a pedestrian or somebody in a car. And I was just fortunate when I swerved to my right, there were no people walking there, because that would have been a horror also. So once I made contact and I came to a standstill, I realized I'm still alive. I'm kind of in shock. The airbags deployed. I had my seatbelt on and it locked. Like, it went forward, but the seatbelt locked on me to protect me from flying. So that was good. I don't know what would happen if I didn't wear the seatbelt, but I'm very good with that. I always wear the seatbelt. And I'm always reminded by my son anyway to wear my seatbelt. He always says, no, you got to put your seatbelt on, and I always do. But I'm grateful that my son wasn't in the car, because God knows what would happen then. But needless to say, I'm all fucked up right now. My mind is crazy. I'm scared to death. I have a 5-year loan on the car. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna pay for a loan where I don't even have a vehicle anymore. I don't know what insurance is gonna decide. I believe my car had some form of mechanical failure with regard to the accelerator and possibly the braking system, because it was like the brakes didn't exist, it seemed like, and the accelerator was stuck. There was nothing I could do. So the only logical thing I could do so I wouldn't hit the cars, especially in front of me and possibly behind me, was to swerve, like I said. And like I said also, I didn't know what I was swerving into. I didn't know if it was going to be a building, I didn't know if it was going to be a pond or whatever, but it happened to be a tree and bushes. And I believe, even though people say they know people got killed hitting a tree, for whatever reasons, that tree actually saved my life because it cushioned the blow of the car. It reduced the blowback to me, and that's why I'm here today. But I'm telling you, I'm in shock. You know, I'm traumatized. You know, I had my little buddy with me that I was luckily able to retrieve at the collision shop. I never drive without her, Lamb Chop. And when I first bought the car, I put her in the dashboard area, and she's been driving with me ever since. So she's my good luck charm. And if I'm lucky enough to be able to drive again and am able to get a car and insurance coverage where I can afford the premium still, she's gonna go there too. But right now my mind is not good. But I was very surprised that even though my car was completely destroyed, total loss, my insurance company encouraged me to rent a car. And at first I said, I don't even know if I can drive a car given my mental state. So I was quite surprised that they're willing to allow me to get back into a car that they're going to pay for, and God forbid something happens, But so far so good. I've been driving the car now since Thursday, yeah. Since, Thursday. And I had to pick up my personal belongings. I lost track of days now because of this. It's in my mind. I keep reliving it. I think I picked up the car on Wednesday, and then Thursday when I drove to the collision shop, I had to clean out my personal belongings. And I took tons of pictures because I couldn't believe what I saw when that car... I'm looking at the car and I'm saying, how the fuck did I survive this accident? Really, I couldn't believe I survived. And it's crazy. I've been in, fender bender type accidents. There was only one accident that did destroy or have damage that costed money, and I had to go through my insurance. But nothing on this scale. I mean, my cars weren't... Well, there was another incident where I had my car classified as totaled. I had a Subaru Outback that my dad had given me. And I'll never forget that my father just had sadly, he had passed away. And he equally split his estate and his life insurance equally amongst me and my two sisters. So we all got a third. So when his death was indicated to the insurance company, we got a third of that settlement. And then also he had an estate with some monies, so we each got a third of that also. So I got roughly 80,000. If you ask me where it is, it's gone. I don't know where it all went, but I know 25,000 of that 80,000 went to me buying a new car. Because what happened was when I was on again Hempstead Turnpike, seems to be pretty bad luck. I was on Hempstead Turnpike. I was near the Petco, and I'm at the light, Levittown, not that far from home, and I'm at the light. There's a car in front of me. I'm in the middle, and then out of nowhere I hear like pow. My car was hit from behind. I didn't even see it coming. And then I crashed into the car in front of me. So my car was like an accordion, and I'm lucky I walked out of that accident as well. I guess the guardian angels are looking over me and my parents, and it wasn't my time. But yeah, my car was totaled. They said it was totaled. They gave me a check for like 7,500, and then I used that in addition to the life insurance, the 1/3 of my dad's policy, and I got a new car. I got a Nissan Sentra, and then eventually, after like using it and then running up the mileage, I knew that it was time to get a new car, so I bought the Toyota. And people told me if you get a Toyota, you should get a Prius, but I couldn't afford the top of the line Prius, so I got the lower model, which is good anyways, the Prius C. C stands for city driving. It's very fuel efficient. So I bought it, and I didn't even own it for 2 years yet when I had this horrific accident happen on Sunday. And I'll tell you, my whole life has changed on the drop of a dime because of this incident. I'm trying to get the most out of life now, because when you're in a near, and I'm not exaggerating, when you're in a near-death experience and you think you're gonna die, it changes your life. You know, I mean, I still get depressed, but now I appreciate the times I'm out with friends, you know, and I try not to talk about this stuff, but it feels good. Like I went, well, today's a new day, but on Thursday I went with my friend Chase, and we did karaoke, we went out for dinner, you know, we have a great time. And Chase is one of my best friends. I know him from when I went to another LGBT center in Bayshore. That's where we met. And Chase is great. We're on opposite sides of the fence, so it's kind of funny that we're the best of friends. Chase happens to be female to male, and I'm male to female, so it's funny. And when I look at Chase, I can't even tell that he was born a female. He doesn't look like that. Plus, he refuses to show me his personal pictures. I mean, his pre-transition pictures. But I don't want to talk a lot about Chase because he's private, so I don't really want to. I don't want to betray my confidence to him. But he is my best friend. And I have a lot of transgender friends, mostly male to female. And then I have Chase, and I have a couple other friends who are female to male as well. But Chase is really my best friend. Female to male. It doesn't matter the female to male, male to female. It just happens to be this way where he's my best friend. And I love Chase, you know. And he got me into the singing. He's got me doing the karaoke. He even got me to go to the LGBT center in Queens when he found out they do karaoke. And he's really good at it. He's even on this app where it's like karaoke, but you're not really doing these songs together. It looks like you are. I think it's called Smule. I don't remember. He even downloaded the app on my phone, but I haven't really used it. But when I had to replace my iPhone, I got the speakers. So now I think I'm gonna try it. I think it'll be fun. But yeah, I'm going through a bad time now. I'm very depressed. I'm driving a rental car, which I really didn't want to do at first, but the insurance agent kind of said, look, we know you went through a traumatic experience, but you can't be afraid to get behind the wheel again. You know, we don't know what's going to happen with this issue with the loan, and but we're assuming that everything will work out for you as it should. So don't stress, don't worry. Everything's going to be taken care of. And he kept reinforcing, this is why you have insurance. You know, and these things happen. You know, so right now I asked Toyota also, should I still be paying the loan? And she said at this point, yeah, but once the insurance determination comes and they give us a settlement, then you don't pay anymore. And I can also take that car off my insurance. But then what am I going to do? Because I won't have any way to drive. So I'm going to have to try to get a car. Not not a new car. Obviously, I won't be able to afford it. So I'd have to get a good, reliable second-hand car. I don't even know which one. Maybe leaning towards Hyundai because they're the cheaper one, or Kia. But I want to get a car that at least I can rely on. And then I also have to make sure I get the right insurance in place. Because if the insurance affiliated with Allstate drops me, I know for sure because of my driving record and this recent accident, which was an accident, not my fault, I believe it's still going to affect my premiums. And if insurance drops me because they think I'm too high a risk, then who am I going to find to insure me? And I'm telling you now, if I can't be able to drive a car, even though I do have some anxiety, if I'm unable to drive a car and I'm not able to get insurance that I can afford, I think I want to check out, man. I can't live without getting out. Even when I'm depressed, sometimes it helps me when I just get out, drive to the mall or go to the park or go swimming and take my son out for pizza or see a movie or whatever. So now if I don't have a car, what the fuck am I going to do? I'm tired of sitting in the house watching TV all the time, not working because of my mental state, severely depressed. I'm transgender and I'm transitioning, hoping to do surgery. And then all of a sudden I can't drive a car anymore, or I want to drive and I can't get the insurance to cover it. What the heck am I going to do? What is going to happen? I think I'd rather die than have that. And I know it sounds crazy that I say that, because when I was preparing to die and I survived, I was grateful that I'm still alive. But how can you be grateful if you're still alive and you can't do anything anymore? This happened to me when I lost my job too, because I was working, even though I was working in the mail role, and I was miserable living in the mail role, I still was able to go to work. I was still able to communicate to people. My sisters respected me and invited me to their family functions. I had friends who, they wouldn't even think to walk away from me and abandon the friendship. And I was a professional CPA. But ever since I transitioned, and I'm very happy now living my truth, I have never been so much isolated in my life. I've never been so depressed in my life. I've been out of work now for 7 years straight, ever since I came out. My sisters don't talk to me. They don't invite me to any family functions. They barely text me a happy birthday sentiment, but that's about it. And most of my friends walked away from me. And the only ones that stay are my loyal friends, dear friends to the end. And then I've made some new friends, obviously, in the LGBT community. But, my life is very isolated, very boring, very depressing. And sometimes I want out because I'm also stressed out about my son. We have to prepare him for a group home and he doesn't want to. And he keeps saying, if you put me in a group home, I'm going to kill myself. And then he sometimes says, I wish I was never born. So this is like a dagger in my heart. How much more of this can I take before I say, this is it, I can't do this anymore? And then I'm worried about losing my house, God forbid. And my wife and son and I, and her family, wind up in the streets and we're homeless. I'd rather fucking kill myself so my wife gets my life insurance policy. I can't live like that. Just the thought of living in the streets, and where the hell am I going to live? Where am I going to do? And it's all because of my transition now. Everybody does not know, not many people understand what transgender is all about. Not a lot of people even know what mental illness is all about. They don't even want to be near you if they know you're transgender, or you have mental illness and you struggle with depression and you tried to kill yourself. They don't want to know you. I've made calls to Robert Half and other agencies, And I said, look, I want to get back into the workforce. I have a background in accounting. I'm a CPA. I've been working for almost 30 years in the accounting profession. I jumped around. I worked in private. I worked in public. But they don't want to deal with me once I say, I've been out of work 7 years. I can't lie, right? I've been treated for depression. That's my diagnosis, bipolar disorder. I'm transgender, male to female. Um, I have financial stress. So I need a job where I can at least make around, because right now I make 60,000 with my two forms of disability, private and Social Security. So it's 60, but the private is like 36,000 a year, which and Social Security is 24,000 a year. So combined, that's 60. But the 36,000 from long term is not taxable. So if I got a job working again theoretically, and I was making 60,000 equivalent to what I'm making now currently, all of that 60,000 would be subject to tax. Whereas with the current situation, 36,000 of the 60 is not subject to tax. So I'd be making less, I'd be paying more in tax based on it, and I would literally have to look at trying to get a salary of 75 just to be equal on an equal footing. And that is never going to happen, especially because of my circumstances. Out of work 7 years, hospitals many times, depressed, suicidal, transgender. They don't even want to talk to me. I mean, I've had a couple instances where I called and they just clicked the phone on me. And I thought maybe it was a drop call, and I called back and they clicked the phone again. So, it's very hard to be transgender and have mental illness, and sometimes I say, well, if nobody's going to value me, how can I value myself if I'm not working? I'm constantly depressed. I'm worried about my son. What's the point? I'd rather just fucking kill myself. There's no point to go on if you can't do anything with your life. And the thing that really upsets me the most is I'm finally happy. I'm wearing dresses. I'm being truthful to myself. I'm hanging out with some of my LGBT friends. They embrace me. I embrace them. And I love that. But mainstream society is not like that. Even when I was in psychiatric hospitals, I've never had so much fun talking amongst the patients, because we all have problems. And even people out in mainstream society have problems, but they don't allow it to affect them, whereas it affects me deeply. And I don't suppress things anymore like I used to. In my younger days, even up to age 50 before I came out, I suppressed everything. I didn't want people to know that I was transgender. I didn't want to go out in public dressed up in female clothes. My life was horrible. I'm grateful that I'm married. I'm grateful I have a son. Don't get me wrong. But if I had to do this, if I had to do this over again, I'd probably go the same way that I am. But, I really wanted to have surgery when I was 16. So now this is basically my last chance for surgery. It's scheduled for September 10th. My psychiatrist is worried now based on this accident that I had gone through, and now my mind is messed up. I keep reliving this accident. It won't get out of my head. I'm panic stricken when I get behind the wheel of a car, but now that I have a rental car, I have to be extra safe now. And although I have insurance on the car still, I took also some insurance. I took insurance out with the rental company because I'm very scared, and God forbid I get into an accident. Insurance has to cover that, as well as this horrible accident that I was just in last Sunday. I will never be able to drive a car then. My insurance will skyrocket so I wouldn't be able to afford it, and most likely all insurance would drop me, and then what do? I don't even know what kind of insurance company would cover me. So this is a dilemma for me, and I'm very depressed about it, and I just can't sit at home all the time. And I gotta go to my therapist. I have to go to my psychiatrist. How the hell am I gonna go there if I don't have any transportation? And I know people say, oh, well, you take Uber or you take Lyft or whatever. But I don't want to have to fucking go and call everywhere. Let's say I want to go out to Roosevelt Field or Broadway Mall to see a movie with my son and get a slice of pizza. How the fuck am I gonna go calling Uber or Lyft to take me there, and then I gotta call Uber or Lyft again and take me home? It's a fucking hassle. I can't go through that. So if I lose the privilege of driving, then I just want to fucking end my life. I can't do this. You know, I can. I just don't know. I'm going crazy, basically. You know, I'm like having a nervous breakdown, you know, and sometimes I just can't take it anymore. I gotta fight. And I have some friends, good friends from high school days who care about me, you know, and they're trying to give me advice. But I am pretty messed up right now, you know, and I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm scared. I don't know how they're gonna determine a settlement. And I believe that I would have a valid lawsuit against Toyota based on my experience driving that car on Sunday. And it doesn't matter that I owned that car for a year and a half. There was something wrong with the mechanical operation of that accelerator to stick, and then the brakes served no purpose for me whatsoever. I couldn't even skid. Normally when you come to a quick stop, you skid. I couldn't even come to any kind of stop. I mean, it was just, I was flying and I couldn't do anything. And the only thing I could do was swerve to my right, not knowing what the hell I was going to crash into. I have 45 miles an hour. But I know one thing, if I hit the car in front of me or I hit a wall, I'd be dead. And God forbid, I killed somebody else. Or let's say I survived, but I killed somebody else. How the fuck am I going to live with myself? You know, I mean, it's horrible, you know, and people say, you know, live one day at a time, just, you know, get through it. But they don't know what I'm going through, you know. Not only am I dealing with being transgender, but I'm dealing with depression, I'm dealing with suicide ideation, I'm dealing with my son's autism, I'm dealing with financial worries and stresses, you know, and I wanted my son to go to college, and we wanted to put him through college, but I had to liquidate all my retirement money, so I didn't lose my house when I got fired, and I didn't have any disability in place yet. So I have no savings whatsoever. Trump wants to cut all the social safety nets. He wants to cut Medicaid, which my son is on, wants to cut Medicare, which I'm on. He wants to cut Social Security, which I'm on. You know, and they make these big tax breaks for the rich and for for all corporations. And the ones that are not S-corp flow-throughs. And I just, and this past year, I had to pay a lot more in income tax than I ever did, because they took my true real estate tax expense and state tax, a lot of it away from me, because they cut it off at $10,000. It's not just real estate tax they cut it. They cut the combination of real estate tax and state income tax. So my wife had about $2,000 taken out for state income tax. I pay roughly rounded maybe $13,500, so rounded to $14,000. So you're talking about $14,000 for the real estate, $2,000 for my wife's state withholding. That's $16,000, and now they limit it completely to $10,000. Real estate tax and state tax. So I'm losing $6,000. I lost $6,000 worth of itemized deductions. And they made this stupid thing like, oh, we'll let you have like double what you normally get as a exemption. But they're fucking lying to us. I'm a CPA. I know. When you say we're going to raise your standard deduction by double, let's say you have 3 or 4 kids, you know, and they're young, you lose all those personal exemptions. You lose your personal exemption, you lose your wife's personal exemption, or vice versa. You lose your 3 children's personal exemptions, so 3 in the parents, that's 5 personal exemptions you lose. So I don't give a shit if they raise your standard by double, because it's all you have to factor in also the exemptions that you're no longer allowed for. So they're lying because you're actually paying more, and that's a crime. How they could get away with lying to us like that and say, "Oh, this is going to be the biggest tax cut for all the middle class and poor people." Fucking no way is that true. They cater to the very wealthy and the fucking corporations that make tons of money, like Amazon, all these rich corporations, Microsoft, the lower corporations, whatever. But it's just, and it pisses me off. And now I got financial problems, financial worries, and it's just a freaking nightmare. And I can't deal with another 4 years of this asshole. So I don't know. But I am right now not in a good state of mind. I'm shocked. I'm depressed. I don't have any dependable form of transportation right now. And let's say I wanted to go to the pharmacy to pick up my prescriptions and my wife's not available. And what am I going to do? Call Lyft or Uber to ask me to go to the pharmacist and tell him to wait? And then I might have like a 15-minute wait for my prescription. And I'm going to expect the driver to wait 15 minutes. No, I'm going to have to send him on his merry way. And then I'm going to have to get in touch with another Uber driver or Lyft driver to go home. And this is a fucking hassle, And even if I had able ride because of my disability, that's a pain in the neck too. And Medicare doesn't cover able ride. It's only Medicaid. So my son could get it because he's on Medicaid, but I can't. So, and taxi costs are expensive, So, I don't know. I'm just so messed up right now. I'm depressed. But I have to say also, having a near-death experience, if you saw my pictures that I posted, you would see that accident was pretty intense. And it was at a very high speed. But I was lucky that force back towards me was deflected by the bushes. And I'm still alive. So I guess I really don't want to die, despite the fact that I tried to kill myself in January by overdosing on my medication. But I'm here, so I gotta make the best of it. I gotta try to appreciate life. It's a clean slate. Gotta try to help my son, because he needs me. And all I can do now is just hope that things will get better. Because if they get worse, then I'm out of here. And I mean it. I'll just call the life insurance company. I'll say, you need to cut a check to my wife. I'll give my wife the information, and then I'm just going to end my life because I can't take it anymore. And it's sad because it took me so long, a whole lifetime, to be true to myself, to live as a woman. But it doesn't seem that it's in the cards that I'm supposed to have a happy life. It seems the moment I transitioned to become a woman, I lost my job, I lost lots of friends, I lost respect as a professional. I'm isolated, I can't find any more work, despite I worked in the field for 30 years as a CPA. And, what's the point? I'm treated like garbage, and it's very depressing, it's humiliating, and I'm worried about Matthew. And if I'm on my deathbed, I'll be worrying for Matthew for the rest of my life, even if I put him in a group home. And I won't, when I'm ready to say goodbye and I'm on my deathbed, I don't think I could ever die in peace worrying about my son, And it sucks that we all have to die alone, We all have to experience death alone. And I only hope that we're still together, where at least I can have the comfort of family by my side and some friends. But I don't know, And it's scary now. I guess I'm in the phase of life where there's so much uncertainty, And I know for Burial costs, funeral costs are astronomical. So I hope to God that the insurance will pay Maria, and I hope she has that information so she will know to call to report that. But I don't want to end up in Potter's Field with no name on my plot, nobody visiting me, nobody coming to my funeral, no one even caring. That's a horrible way to go, and I worry about my son too in regard to that. I don't know. What do they say? Life sucks and then you die? Even though you survive a near-death experience. Because I am grateful, you know, I have I have a new lease on life, but I still have the same problems. And if I'm able to transition, and now my body is more anatomically like a female, it's not going to change all my problems. In fact, it's probably going to cause more problems to worry about, because when you transition from male to female and you do the surgery, bottom surgery, vaginoplasty, then you have a lot of maintenance to do, and you got to do it for the rest of your life. So, and then you're going to have 3 months recovery after surgery. So, you know, I have mixed feelings now. As much as I want to do the surgery, it's like, you know, what should I do? Should I do it? Should I don't? And then you got to live with the fact that if you decide you don't, you're going to say, why didn't I do it when I had the chance? You know, I'll never know. Or if you do it and you suffer with all these health-related issues, then you say, I wished I never did it. So, like, I'm in a catch-22, you know, and it really sucks. Just like I'm in a catch-22 if I wanted to work. Because even if I worked at Target, I have to report that to long-term. And even if I'm only making, like, $200 a week, which on a consistent basis for the next, that's like $10,000 a year, but that doesn't even include taxes, you know. So the gross is 200, but you have to pay taxes. So you're lucky if you make like 8,000 or whatever. And I was making like 75 to 80 when I was working in the profession. Now I'm making 60. So now 36 of that is long term. So now let's say I get 8,000 annual from Target, let's say. That 8,000 they're going to consider as income and that I'm able to work. And they're going to take off my long-term disability. So I can't work, even if I wanted to, but I really can't work anyway, because my psychiatrist is very worried about me. He doesn't even think, and I tend to agree, that I can even handle a 40-hour-a-week job. You know, and some of my friends suggested maybe do volunteer work. Even my psychiatrist and my therapist said that. So if I do volunteer work, that won't affect my disability. But the problem is, how would I find time to commit too much time to do volunteer work if I'm always having to go to my therapist and psychiatrist regularly and take my son to his therapist and psychiatrist? It just, I can't win, you know, I can't win. I got very sidetracked, but the reason I did this video was to explain that when you're in a car and you're driving and you think everything is safe, that's not always the case. My car experienced something that I don't understand, where I had no more control of that car. It was like it had a mind of its own. I couldn't stop the car. I didn't know what the hell I was going to do. And the only way I could avoid hitting the car in front of me was to swerve right and crash into whatever was there. It's not like I said, oh, trees, I'm going to crash into that. No. I didn't know what the hell I was going to crash into. And luckily, well, I hit the curb, then I went slightly airborne, and then I wound up in the trees, and I was literally bracing for death. I thought, this is it. This is my end. This is how I'm going to die in a car accident. I know other friends who died in car accidents. So I said, oh, I'm going to be another car accident victim. But I guess it's not my time. I'm still here. I survived. Even though if you look at my car and you see it's pretty messed up. Total loss. So that's where I stand now. Hopefully things will improve. You know, hopefully my son will get situated. I'll get situated. You know, and hopefully my in-laws who are still living with us find a place. You know, and things start to get somewhat normal, because it's not. You know, we live in a very small house, one bathroom, no washer dryer machine room, no garage, uh, uh, small kitchen, small living room. We did flooring. The flooring's starting to come apart. I can't afford to do. And we have walls that are chipping away with the paint, and I can't hire a painter because I just don't have the money. So I got lots of problems, and even if I went to sell this house, I don't even know how much I would get for it. And when I bought it back in 2004, I spent $316,000, and I must have put at least $40,000 into trying to improve this house. But I look around and I say, where the fuck did that $40,000 go? I don't see really any improvement. I don't have a washer dryer room. We have old appliances. We have an old refrigerator. We have an old oven. Our bathroom, we can't even afford to really remodel professionally. My wife hired somebody, and they did a really schlocky job. So, you know, what can I do? And then the kitchen needs a whole makeover, which I can't afford. So, I don't know. When you have all these freaking... And then the plumbing, we have leaks. It's like, why do I fucking own a house? You know? And I was talked into getting a house, because apartments, you don't get any benefit tax-wise. You know, and suppose the people move, and you gotta go out, you know, and it's just, I don't know. And garden apartments, good luck if you're gonna try to find one here in Long Island. It's never gonna happen. So, I guess I vented enough, you know. I don't want to lose friends or subscribers because of my mental things that are happening. So, that's all I can say right now. Hopefully things will get better. But I'm gonna say bye for now. Thank you. Bye.